One stream says that we're live, but nothing's showing up. There we go. We're live on YouTube.
Hello, everybody. It's Dina at the Wolfpack Mentors, and we're here today for day 2 of our challenge.
One stream
And we're
says that we're
talking today
live,
about
but nothing's showing
collaboration.
up.
I want to first recap what we talked about yesterday, which is all about community and why it's so important for us to have community support around us as business owners and entrepreneurs. Because a lot of times, like we said yesterday, you're on this island by yourself and you feel all alone and you have all the pressure and all the, all of the things to do to make your business successful. And you may have help or you may not. And so community is a really big part of what we do here at Wolfpack Mentors. Um, and today we're going to talk about collaboration. But before we do, Christopher has something to share with you.
According to one of my social media schedulers, today is popcorn day. And we didn't discover that soon enough to go make a big bowl of popcorn, but that would have been really fun. So I just wanted to share a little something fun. Today is collaboration day, and that Dina and I are both here is a testament to how and why collaboration works. There were a couple of folks who see the world in a fairly similar fashion. We've got similar core values. We know, like, and trust one another, which is a huge factor, so very important. And we just like working together. It really comes down to that. We just like working together. And it doesn't matter what we're doing, whether it's doing something like this with Wolfpack, whether it's doing something with the podcast, Four Scars to Stars, something else. It really doesn't matter. As long as we're working together, we seem to be fairly happy. So that's just a really cool thing. A really cool thing. So, Dina, is it okay if I start talking about collaboration inside the mastermind?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. All right. So inside, there's collaboration covers a whole lot of different things, and I'm going to refer to this in two different ways. One will be opportunities to collaborate inside a mastermind group and opportunities to collaborate outside of one. And some of the topics will be the same, but the environment of it is going to be different. So inside the mastermind, each week someone is on the success seat or the hot seat, whatever you want to call that. We prefer a success seat because the whole point of a mastermind accountability group is to help one another succeed. And so inside that success group, you have the opportunity once a month to express a really deep problem that's going on for you or your business, and they get everyone else's input into that. And so that is collaboration really at its core level in terms of Wolfpack Mentors Mastermind. You're able to get assistance from a whole bunch of different people inside your group to make your own program better, and whether that program is a training that you're developing, whether that's your marketing system, whatever the thing is you're trying to do to help improve your personal life and your business, is all stuff that you can collaborate with that team on. And in the same context, there's 3 other weeks of the month where you're helping your fellow accountability pack members improve their programs, whether that's marketing, whether that's trainings, whether it's whatever. So those are 2 ways. And I want to just bring Dina back up and just see if she wants to add anything to that about specifically around the mastermind group itself, like the accountability pack, I should say, itself.
Well, I just want to add that, in one of those accountability groups that we had that we talked about before that were beta groups, um, I got really clear for myself about some business strategies and my website specifically, because at the time I had the nonprofit and I had another business, and then we were talking about Wolfpack Mentors. And so the people who were following me were very confused. And they were like, what are you doing? Because I feel like you're doing this over here and you're doing something else over here. And people were just confused about what I was doing because everybody knew me from events. And so they would see me post things and they weren't really sure what was going on. And so we basically came up with, I'm going to do a 1-page website that talks about me And then at the bottom, it's going to have links to different things I'm doing. So people could get more clear on, like, okay, this is who Dina is, and this is what she's involved in, and I can figure out if I want to follow any of those things. And so it was really a collaboration that got me to where I am with my website now. And it's something we actually have been teaching to other people, because when you have multiple things going on, your personal brand is really important, especially if you're a speaker and author, because people need to know your name to find you anywhere, if it's on Amazon or if it's wherever it is, a podcast. So anyway, I think it's really important to collaborate on things like that, like Christopher's talking about in these accountability groups, because you can come and say, look, this is what I've built, and share your screen and ask them their feedback. And you're getting feedback from people who've gotten to know you and like you and trust you and want to see you succeed. It's a whole different animal than reaching out to somebody you don't know and say,
Totally.
can you do a resume review for me on LinkedIn? Like, you know what I mean? Like this is a personal connection that is giving you advice in a way that they really want to see you succeed.
And that one page website that Dina came up with was such a brilliant idea that it's actually something that we teach people inside the mastermind. Like, we've got a whole course area set aside for how to develop that entire thing, because Dina and I both have a bunch of things on the go. And part of her getting clarity helped me get some clarity, which was really awesome. Because just by watching what she was doing, it was like, oh my goodness, I've been going about this all wrong. I'm trying to build all these individual brands when that's not how it needs to be. I am the brand. I am the face of the brand. Together, Dina and I are the face of this brand. And so it's just one of those really fun things that over the course of us gaining the clarity, and that's what all this is about in my mind, is gaining clarity. And there's always more layers to that. But as we gain more clarity around it, this is a really good idea that we can actually share with other people, and not only share with them, make it so that they can actually implement it really quickly, way faster than if they had to start from scratch and build it themselves. So that's really, really fun. The marketing thing too is really important. I mean, that's, I think, what Dina was talking about, is that when we gain that clarity around how I need to present myself to the world so they understand who I am and what I do and why I do it, it's so much simpler to move forward faster, because you're now not carrying all these bags of trying to figure out, well, how do I deal with this brand and that brand and the other brand and the nonprofit, and like it all gets crazy. So go,
I think
Dina,
we have
go.
some specific examples for you about what collaboration means to us. And
Yes.
I'll start with one about my nonprofit, because excuse me, when we started the nonprofit, I didn't really know where it was going. I knew that I had a mission and a passion in my heart about what I wanted to do, and our mission was all about suicide prevention. And so I didn't know what that was going to look like. And I was in a group at the time with about 160 people online. This was in 2021, 2020, 2021. And so what we did is we started with these virtual summits. And what we did there is we had speakers, and the speakers would come on and they would have 20 minutes to tell their story, of adversity, whatever that was for them. And the stories were very authentic and vulnerable and hard talks, some of them, about abuse, addiction, mental health, suicide prevention, even financial stress for entrepreneurs. So we had all kinds of stories. And one thing we did for the connection piece of it is that I made a slide for each speaker that would come up before they came on with their bio and their picture, like normal. But what we also did was we attached their favorite music when they were having a bad day. So you could hear their favorite music as you're seeing their face and reading about them. So then you're automatically starting to connect with them before they even speak. And it was very impactful to do it that way. And as we went on with the summits, they were really successful. But then one day, if people were like, what if we make this a book? Well, now we have four Amazon bestsellers. Um, and then we're going to start the fifth one in July. So it has become a huge collaboration. I think there's almost 60 people that have been involved in the project. And, when we do a book, we all show up on day one. We all have to introduce ourselves on Zoom and say what we're writing about, which is usually a hard topic. So everybody bonds really fast. And I think that you can do the same thing in the business accountability groups. If you're vulnerable and authentic about what you're going through and what you're experiencing and what you need help with, you're going to get that same kind of collaboration from the people in your group, and it's magical. So I just wanted to use that as an example, and I know Christopher has one, and then I think we each have a second one.
Yeah, I I just want to speak to that vulnerability thing. Too often, our society wants to view vulnerability, being vulnerable with someone else, as a weakness. And well, I suppose there is some truth to that on one level or another. The far more powerful truth is that the more vulnerable I am with you, the easier it is for you to connect with me. And that really is one of the great big powers of these accountability groups is there's four people who get to know, like, and trust each other at a really deep level, and it happens really quickly. By week three, like if you're not already really deeply connected, it's really a shock because it's just such a powerful environment for that. My example, I alluded to this yesterday. I talk about I used to work in the movie industry, so I was there for I want to say 15 years or so. And in the movie industry, when a production is greenlit, which simply means the financing is in place and there's a production company created to create the movie or the television show, whatever it happens to be, whenever that process is greenlit, you start off with a production manager who then hires the director, and the director then hires his supporting people. But the production also hires what's called department heads. So there'll be a department head for every major section of the movie. So whether that's lighting, whether that's the electrical department, which is called grips, whether that's the art department, which then overarching has multiple departments underneath it. So the art department will contain the graphics department, it'll contain the props department, it'll contain the set tech department. And all of these people need to collaborate together in order to bring the director's vision to light. So the director is the client, if you will. And all of those teams, be the department heads at the top of it all or the sub-department heads below that, everyone is collaborating to bring this one larger vision to life. And it is a really powerful environment, powerful creative environment to be in. And that extends down to the actors as well, because once we as the on-set team get to know who the actors are and how they're portraying this particular character, we can collaborate together with the actors to figure out, well, here, how can we add this set of props, or maybe you on set, on screen building this prop to help enhance your character. There's all kinds of ways to go about that, and it's really, really fun. Really, really fun. Uh, I'll leave it at that. If you've never experienced that kind of collaboration at that level, if you're a creative person, it's really a lot of fun. Really a lot of fun.
Well, I think it's very similar in some ways to the event industry, because we're
Well,
constantly.
for sure. And I mean, I think a lot of that goes just to the number of hours you're putting in together. In the event industry, you're together for the same as I was in the movie. It's like 15, 16, 18 hours a day for a finite period of time, and that's just how life is. So it's impossible not to get closer to all of those people. Really
Except we
impossible.
no retakes because ours is live and
Yes.
we're on stage and
Yes, we did have the benefit of retakes. That is true. Yeah. Very, very
So
true.
my other example is about the hospitality industry. I spent pretty much 30 years in that industry. And whether I was in restaurants or hotels or events, it was all a team effort. And we couldn't be successful without the help of other team members or other departments. So, like in a hotel, I was the director of conference services. So all these big corporate people would come and put on conferences in our space, and we were tasked with executing everything from AV to the setup of the room to the food service to sometimes off-site events or activities. And so, it might be that we have a whole ballroom that needs to be changed from one meeting to another, and we have 30 minutes. Then we're calling housekeeping and engineering and front desk people to come and help us. So it was always a collaboration of like, maybe housekeeping had a big turn of the whole hotel and we needed to go help them strip beds or whatever it was. So there's just so many examples in the hospitality industry when it comes to collaboration, and most of my time was spent in either events or food and beverage, but all of it is it's such a team that, there's department
Absolutely.
heads and I work in this department, you work in that department. But at the end of the day, when there's something that is something that has to be done for a client that is not a normal day, everybody pitches in and makes it happen. And it's I don't know, it was just really fun working in that industry too and seeing all the events and the conferences and all the things that we successfully serviced and put on. So that was my other example.
And it's all about that teamwork. Yeah, like I'm just going to put Dina back on screen because I want to point out something that's behind her. If you look at off of her left shoulder, there's a bunch of awards back there, and that's stuff that her and her company won because of the excellence with which they put on those events. It's a kind of a big deal, and it's something that needs to be recognized. In the movies, there's awards. Like there's all kinds of different awards shows for various things. There's no award for the props department, which always made us sad, but such is life, right? My next example is about from the writing world because I help a lot. I help writers get the book out of their head and into print, and I love writing. So if someone wants to write a book, I just want to help you. Like I got a text this morning from one of the people who was here yesterday, and I'm not sure if they're watching today right now or not. And they were sharing that they had started writing their memoir, and I'm like, that's fantastic. How can I help? Right? So my example, I have a really good friend named Nicholas Johnson. Him and I do a lot of work in one area of civil rights, and so him and I got together as some Canadian legislation was coming down, and we decided that we were going to co-write a book together about the impact of that, or the potential impact of that legislation, and what we could do about it to try and stop it if we didn't like it, things along that line. And it was a really interesting experience from both of our sides, and because we both came at the writing process from a different perspective. Nicholas has his way of working, I have my way of working. We were trying to figure out how do we gel these two things together so we can come up with a finished written product that actually made sense. And one of my sort of key principles around writing is get that first draft out of your head and onto the page as fast as you possibly can so you can work on making it gooder, as I like to say. Nicholas's process was much more long and drawn out, so I was constantly challenging him on that particular front, whereas he would be challenging me on perhaps layouts or how do we address this topic. So it was very much a give and take about challenging each other as well as just making sure that the finished product was the best thing we could possibly make. And on two separate occasions, we collaborated on two books together, and both of those books went to Amazon bestseller status, which was really, really fun because although Nicholas had an extensive history in journalism, he'd never written a book before. And so by that point, I had written I was well into the 30s, maybe into the 40s of books that I've written and published. But having that be his first experience of being published, being a bestseller, that gave me a lot of gratitude and fulfillment because, I mean, it was in that small little collaboration, it truly was, I guess, a reflection of everything that I try and do for everybody that I work with. Is like, I want you to have that same success because there is nothing like the feeling of holding your own book in your hands and knowing that people are reading it and liking it and sharing the information. That's it. It's just, it's gratifying, I guess, is another way of putting it. It's, yeah, a sense of
And
fulfillment.
without Christopher's collaboration, the Sour Genius would not be on Amazon. So thank you.
Dina gives me some credit for that, and I suppose on one hand it's true in that, well, here's the missing piece of your puzzle, as I talked about yesterday. But on the other hand, Dina is, well, we both are, we're go-getters. Like, if we set our minds to something, we're going to go do it. And for Dina, she just needed one missing piece. And then it was like, great, torpedoes full steam ahead, let's go. And like I think I said yesterday at one point, it was just really funny that she literally disappeared from my world for like 4 or 5 weeks. And at the end of it, showed up with a book in her hand going, look what I did. So it was just really, really fun. And but that's what we want out of all of our collaborations, is for whoever we're working with to have that immense sense of achievement and success that we all want. I think that was what makes it so fun, is because in that act of service, fulfillment comes for everybody involved. And that's just hugely powerful. Hugely powerful.
I'll also tell you, like, I was part of another book. I've been part of a few anthologies other than the Scars to Stars books. And one of them was the Change series that Jim Lutz and Jim Britt put on, and Les Brown writes the foreword for it. And like, I can't even tell you the amount of people I met through that book that I got to collaborate with on some level. Some of them wrote in Scars to Stars. Some of them had me on their podcasts. Some of them have just connected with me, and we've connected other people for each other that could help with something. I mean, it was just crazy. And probably the biggest example is Chad, because Chad wrote in Scars to Stars. He also wrote a book about his life, and it's being made into a movie right now. And
That's
so that
exciting.
movie is going to come out next year. And he's also releasing a book with the same name ahead of that movie, and he's asked me to write in that. So it's like, once you start this, I don't know what you call it, this journey of collaboration, you never ever know where it's going to take you.
And it takes you some really amazing places. Like when Dina and I met at some event 3 or 4 years ago now, we never envisioned that that meeting would turn into what we're doing today. It was nowhere on our radar in any capacity. It was just, well, here's someone that I think I like, and I want to just see if we can figure out how we can help each other. We had no grasp of where it was going to lead, and that's half the fun. Is you get to figure out along the way on the journey, oh my goodness, well, here's this other really cool thing that we could do together, and it'll be a lot of fun and will help a lot of people. Yeah,
I
super
think
fun.
I think it's what Christopher talked about yesterday, is that servant mindset. Of
Yeah,
like, if you're there to offer value to other people, or figure out how you can help them with something, it could be something really small. Um, sometimes just having a conversation with somebody is something that can help them get to where they're trying to be. There's just so many ways to look at collaboration,
yeah.
and it's fascinating to me, because you just, like you said, you never know where it's going to lead, and you never know what's going to come of it. And sometimes I just get calls out of the blue for things that maybe I've been praying for, And this person didn't even know that, and they're reaching out to me about the same thing. And it's been a it's been very prevalent, I would say, at least the last 6 months of that happening in my life.
Yesterday, after we re-recorded our session because we had some tech issues, I went and met with a gentleman who had about a week or so said, like, I want to pick your brain about this, and we're getting into their own politics. He's running to be a politician, and he wanted my input because he knows that I've been successful in that arena in the past. How he should move certain things forward. So we had a really interesting conversation where I just asked some questions and then offered some perspectives. And what was fun about that was that he got to view what he's doing today through a different lens that had never occurred to him. And so his world gets to expand to encompass more things so he can make a greater impact, which is the whole reason he's doing this. And we'll see where that collaboration leads. Who knows? I have no idea where that's going to go, but it's going to be fun, whatever it is. So, in whatever you're doing, in whatever area of life you're doing it, if you can find someone who has a similar mindset, similar outlook, similar shared values, figure out how to do stuff together, because together the two of you are going to be far more powerful than just the sum of your individual parts. I mean, that's true of me and Dina. Absolutely, 100%. The two of us
Don't
together have so much more to offer than just each of us individually, and each of us individually has a lot to offer. So,
And also don't sell yourself short
yeah,
by thinking you can only work with one person. I mean, you have the capability to work with many people on different things. And
yeah,
um, I think Christopher and I were just really passionate about what we're doing here, and it made sense. And we both have different strengths inside of Wolfpack Mentors that make it happen. And I think it's even if you have your own business and you have a friend who has their own business and you're trying to get, you know, to a point where you can maybe hire help or something like that, you could still help each other. Maybe one of you knows a good accountant. Maybe one of you knows somebody who can um, give you tech stuff or whatever it is you're looking for. So you can always brainstorm with people like that in your world and see what comes of it. It might be, we don't agree on this and we're going to part ways. Or it might be that it becomes a part of your mainstay support in some way.
yeah.
So think about it, think out of the box when it comes to collaboration because you never know. You never know. I just got a text yesterday um, that was somebody that wanted to donate to my nonprofit that I had talked to a year ago. Like, you just never know what things are going to turn into.
And when you approach the collaboration from how can I deliver value to this person as opposed to what can I get out of it, it's so much more powerful because you're not approaching it with a selfish mindset, you're approaching it with a service mindset. And that truly makes all the difference in the world. Because the more you give, the more you get. Zig Ziglar said, you can get everything in life that you want by helping enough other people get what they want. That act of service is the thing that's going to set you apart from everybody who does what you do or does something similar to what you do. And I think that's one of the real powers that Dina and I have is that servant mindset that we want to see you succeed. End of story. Yeah. So I think that gets us up to time today, which is, I mean, we take the time very seriously, take your time very seriously. So we don't want to waste it, we don't want to squander it, we want to make sure that we're keeping our commitment. So this will be the end for today, and tomorrow we're going to talk about, what are we talking about tomorrow? Accountability, that's the word, yeah, thank you. We're talking about accountability tomorrow. And we will also discuss how, if you like what you've heard so far over the last 2 days and what you hear tomorrow, how you can join us at the Wolfpack Mentors Mastermind. And I want to assure you that it is not nearly as scary as it might sound. It's a lot easier and far less expensive of an investment in yourself than you might think sitting here today. So I just want to leave you with that thought that we want to serve, so we want to make that service accessible to as many people as we possibly can. Let's just leave it at that. Any final thoughts for you, Dina?
I think so. I just want to say collaboration has changed my life
Yeah.
in many, many, many ways over the years. And it's just, like Christopher said, caring about other people and wanting to understand what their dreams are and what might you add to help them get there.
So thank you for being here today. We look forward to seeing you back here, same time tomorrow, same bat channel, as they say. If you're already signed up for the challenge, you'll get an email with it. And if you're not already signed up, just go to the URL you see on your screen, wolfpackmentors.com, and sign up so you can get the email reminders. Or just show up here on our YouTube channel tomorrow at noon Mountain. Right? Yes. We all live in different time zones. It gets a little confusing. So that's it for today. Have a fantastic and amazing rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have some popcorn.
And popcorn, yes. Don't forget the popcorn.